So, before we start, can you guys just introduce yourself and give a brief description of your music? So, if anybody doesn't know who you guys are, they can kind of get a bit of an overview.
Yeah, I'm Dylan. I'm Tom. We're Mass House, and we are an electronic kind of synthy band.
So what would you say some of your inspirations as a band are?
So like ACD.
ACDC.
I was thinking of I reckon like LCD Sound System and maybe like Talking Heads and these kind of funky synthy bands that may be familiar. And ACD,
ACDC are our main main inspiration in life.
ACDC.
So, would you guys say there are any elements from other artists that you kind of artistically, embed into yourselves?
Up from ACDC.
Well, I suppose like you kind of, as you find stuff that you like, you kind of take elements from everything, really. I don't think there's specifically any artists that we really kind of, look to for inspiration continuously. It's always like just what we're sort of listening to at the time. So what we like recently, kind of bands like LCD Sound System, Young Fathers, probably.
Yeah, it's all. I always find that you kind of find the inspiration for stuff comes from really like alien kind of places. Like you'll be kind of making a tune or whatever, and so a melody from like a fucking, I don't know, something random will just spring into your mind, and then that will kind of lead a bit more, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So I first came across you guys back in December as Mass House, but we know that you were previously in a band called Dumb, and obviously the genres of like Dumb and Mass House are quite different. How did you come to kind of discover that this was like more your sound to make music of nowadays?
Yeah, I think Dumb kind of came to a bit of a natural end, and me and Tom have always sort of done bands together, so we weren't going to like stop. There was always going to be another project just because it's what we enjoy doing. I suppose when we did that for like 4 or 5 years, and if you're going to do something new, then you might as well make it new. There's no point kind of like we'd kind of that was put to bed, that project. So like to keep ourselves excited and interested, like we thought like we might as well try something completely new and just put down guitars and kind of put those sort of grungy inspirations to the one side and like look to do something completely different.
Yeah, and it all just kind of evolved really because we suddenly found ourselves writing music in a different way rather than being in a kind of environment where you are just stood there with a guitar or whatever. From like being at a computer where you've got access to like unlimited instruments. So, why not experiment with new things? And we've kind of ended up in a completely different place because of it.
And I think the production side of things has almost like become a writing tool for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Which before it wasn't. It was always 4 guys in a rehearsal space. Now being in bedrooms and that, like I'm learning how to produce music. Like that's become part like a writing tool, which has sent us off in a different direction.
So, talking about your music, you guys have recently released a compilation album called Quarantine Machine. Could you guys tell us a little bit more about that?
So, Quarantine Machine basically came from an idea where we were kind of being frustrated because we were meant to have a release during this time, and we kind of thought, oh well, we're not going to be able to do any gigs, we're not going to be able to do any of this, and we kind of thought it'd be a great way to kind of bring loads of artists together and give them a kind of platform to release stuff, but at the same time trying to do something good and raise money for kind of local food banks. So the first one we've released is kind of centered around like Birmingham. So we've got loads of Birmingham artists and we're raising money for local food banks there. And then we're going to release another volume for Bristol, where we got Bristol artists involved. And I think that'll be kind of coming out in the next few weeks.
The story's so predictable. Yeah, we're smart but not original. Do you mean it?
Like a prison with colours and the sound so vivid. And now I'm walking around the town.
How would you say lockdown is affecting you guys as a musician, and how would you say that it's affecting like the music industry as a whole, especially for like the more underground artists that aren't signed?
I think it's kind of weirdly got positives and negatives to it. The negatives obviously is all your plans get cancelled live and you can't you can't tour, which is like a brilliant way to sort of expand your audience and also make a bit of money. But then the other side of it is being locked up, because we luckily live together, so we can just finish off a load of stuff that has been unfinished and we haven't quite had like time to do it or whatever. Now we can like really focus on finishing, sort of recording and things like that. So there's positive and negatives.
I feel like the kind of more, it kind of forces you to take different creative angles. So like, because you can't just fall into the usual routine of play a gig, release a song, you're kind of thinking like, okay, so how can I'm stuck in this situation, what can I do to kind of make the most out of this place that I'm in?
So talking more about like you guys as a band now and live shows as a band now, what are some of like your favourite places to perform, and what are kind of some of the barriers you come across? Because obviously sometimes you have like different equipment than most bands would have, rather than just like a drum kit and like a guitar kind of layout. It is like a more, I don't know, eccentric layout in my perspective from when I saw you guys live in December.
We always have a joke about this, because we always turn up to venues to play, and I think the sound man at first is a bit like, oh, crying out loud, like, what have I got on my hands here? I was expecting just like, to have a night with a drummer and a few bands doing guitars and stuff. But it actually turns out to be quite easy for them.
Yeah.
Because we're so compact.
Apart from the packing up and the packing down, I think it's like, okay. It's because like the problem is like when we play smaller venues, say like the Sunflower Lounge or something in Birmingham, we're forced to like kind of run off stage through the crowd with like carrying like 2 synths over our shoulders, while there's like people having like a natter in the middle, and you just kind of like.
So you guys mentioned to us in the past that you guys are bringing out a new single called Birmingham. Could you tell us a little bit more about this?
So we were due to release that actually, sort of, when was that? I think the other day, but because of the pandemic and everything, we've pushed it back. It's a song that's kind of very much about us being sort of stuck in Birmingham and the kind of love-hate relationship with being stuck. And it's not specifically Birmingham, I suppose. It would be like to your hometown for anyone, like kind of related to that. And this idea of like, is the grass always greener on the other side, or is it cool like to be stuck here? And that kind of like day to day, like, oh, I love this place, I need to find something new, and that kind of stuck between those two feelings.
So obviously you mentioned that you were meant to release it like the other day, but it's been prevented due to the pandemic. Once we come out of lockdown, is there anything in particular that we should expect from you guys, or people should keep an eye out or an ear out for?
Come to a show, man. I think we're thinking of kind of putting on some kind of events or some kind of night incorporating what we're doing with like Quarantine Machine at the moment. Like maybe thinking, I don't know, like a coming out of quarantine events or something like that, where we have a bit of a party and celebrate.
Yeah.
I think as well, we want to put on our own nights as well, and start like a Mass House club night. Yeah, because it'd be cool to play with some sort of like other electronic bands. Because at the minute we're kind of, mainly because of the old band, being put on with like sort of guitar bands and stuff. So I think we're going to do some more electronic nights, which would be fun.
What could we like expect from those? Is there anything that you could give an insight into what people would see if you were to put those on?
You'd have a wonderful time. Let's just leave it at that and leave it to your imagination.
So, obviously talking about Birmingham and stuff, when I was watching your music video for Angelina Bone, there was quite a distinct aesthetic with obviously you doing running through like Big Berth in this kind of like boiler suit. Where did you kind of come to choose that kind of aesthetic for the video?
The whole kind of Mass House project is like sort of a digestion of what it is to be a Brummie, like, and the heritage of the city. So we always look at like sort of brutalist architecture and sort of what it used to look like in the 80s when it was a real sort of grey, drab city. And Digbuff's got that sort of feeling of industrial city still. So we wanted to capture that. And the boiler suit thing is kind of, it's the industrial inspiration. And just everything we do, we kind of just like looking at different aspects of the city and trying to, use that in one way or another.
So we've got quite a lot of Brummie fans. Is there what does it mean for you guys? Any specific points about kind of life in Birmingham that really stand out? Like, what's it like to be a Brummie for you guys?
I think like for kind of musically anyway, I think the diversity of like kind of what you've got in your like immediate surroundings, like when you meet people from kind of other areas of the country, you kind of realise that not everyone could have, you know, walked 100 metres one way and been at like a local reggae night and walked 100 metres the other way and been at like a techno event. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, definitely.
That's quite good about Birmingham for that respect, that you have like such a wide range of like musical cultures like at the tip of your fingers, which is something that we kind of we bared in mind when we were doing the Quarantine Machine album, because we were thinking, all right, let's get something that really represents what kind of electronic music roots there are in kind of Birmingham, if you know what I mean.
What is your experiences with kind of like the Birmingham music scene? Because obviously it's like such a tight-knit community in some areas, because obviously you've got like all those kind of gigs that get put on by obviously the Future Soundproof projects who are doing like big things at the moment, and back in January there was just talk of Birmingham. Like, what are your like opinions with how you've come across and like being within the scene?
So everyone's lovely. Everyone's nice, down to earth, kind of genuine people, really. Which I think in a lot of music scenes, there's a sense that people slip into this kind of pretentious, kind of self-absorbed kind of image. Whereas you kind of find with Brummies, you kind of skip that and just have these kind of down-to-earth sound people who just have a passion for music.
I think there's a genuine support for one another as well, like cross-genre. Just the whole of the city, really. Doesn't matter kind of what you sound like. There's a real like lovely support that everyone's got for each other, which is good.
So yeah, I think we're pretty much coming to the end of it. Are there any like final messages that you guys want to give to people, any social media accounts that you guys want people to check out, or any other ways they can get in touch?
Well, the big thing in the minute for us is this Quarantine Machine album, because as we've said, like all the money we're making from it is going to charity, 100% of it. So it'd be great if people could go on our Instagram, and it's in the bio, a link to purchasing it, or on our recent posts on Facebook, there's a link in there. So it'd be great to like really raise like a really good amount of money to give over to the Trussell Trust. That'll make a real difference to people sort of in the city that are struggling a little bit. So yeah, there's some really brilliant artists on it. The album, we think it sounds great. We've had some good feedback, and it's a great way to support your local scene as well as the kind of the people that are suffering at the minute. So just buy it.
Yeah.
And also, Birmingham's going to be coming out on the 15th of May. So watch our spaces.
Put that one down the diary.
I can't bear to live without you. Oh darling, hold the phone. Tell me something I don't know. And I can't bear to live without you.